Hey guys, welcome back. If you are new here, hey, I'm Chantel and I like to make videos about family travel just to kind of sum things up. If you are new here, then you don't know this, but my family and I are currently living in Japan and we will be living here for a total of 3 years. My husband is active duty military and that's how we got here. If you are interested in seeing our PCS journey to Japan, then after this video, go ahead and click on my channel. There you can find a folder that I put together called PCSing to Japan, and that will basically bring you up to date with all of the PCSing videos that I've created. So as you guys can see in the title of this video, this is a Q&A, but what you guys don't know is this video was actually inspired by one of you guys, Juju_around_the_world on Instagram. So Juju around the world _ in between each word. Hit me on Instagram and she asked me a plethora of questions about being in Japan, and that actually prompted this video. So thank you, sis, for asking those questions. I truly appreciate it. I looked into her Instagram page and I realized that she's an author of a children's book called Juju Around the World Japan, where this little girl, this little brown girl, is in Japan and she's experienced the culture and the food and all of that good stuff. So obviously I went and bought the book because it's so relatable to me and my family and what we have going on here. We are Black and brown family and we are in Japan. And if you don't know this, we do have a 7-year-old daughter. We are all getting to experience Japan at the same time, and it's a wonderful thing. I will also note about Juju Around the World is that she has merch for Juju watches, Juju hair bows. I think I saw a Scully on there and some jackets. So sis does sell a bunch of merch. And if you are interested in supporting her business, please go ahead and check out her Instagram page, Juju_around_the_world. And I will also link the book in the description box. You can find it on Amazon. That's where I bought my copy. The reason why I'm saying this and I'm promoting her so hard is because you guys constantly show up for me when you watch my videos, when you subscribe, when you leave comments and stuff like that. So I just want to pay that forward and just say thank you. Thank you to her, but really thank you to all of you guys who've ever commented on any of my videos, and those of you who watch my videos, I'm greatly appreciative. So before we jump into the video, I do want to mention that everybody's questions that I'm featuring into this video today, I did contact them personally and ask if I can basically leave their name or mention their name in the video with their question. For those questions that don't have names attached to them, it's either because I didn't get a response when I sent out my message to that person asking permission to attach their name with the question, or it was a question that I felt like was controversial or kind of violated privacy. So I decided not to ask the person or use their names for the questions. And then last but not least, I cannot continue this video without saying, please do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you are interested in more of our day-to-day lives in Japan, then go ahead and follow me on Instagram. You can get more of a daily update and kind of see what I'm doing on the day-to-day, whereas here, you guys get those weekly or bi-weekly videos. All right, without further ado, let's jump right into the video, shall we? The first few questions is going to be from Juju Around the World _ in between those words. Her first question was winter really awful? Yes, it was, especially for me. And there is a little bias in my response because I was pregnant, I hate snow, and I get the winter blues. So every winter, I kind of get the winter blues. I don't really like to be in my house all the time, and here that's what I was doing. At least this past summer I was in the house all the time. There are things to do off base, but we've never really driven in snow like that, especially not to this capacity of snow. On base they do clean up the streets a little bit, but off base it's kind of like hit or miss. And on the highway is good though. So we didn't really go out as much. When we did go out, we went to either go eat or we went snowboarding. I couldn't snowboard because I was pregnant. And then when I could snowboard, I had gained weight from my pregnancy, so I couldn't freaking fit my snow pants. So it was like just all these things happening and piling on each other. I will say that I am from New York, born and raised, and when people hear that, they be like, girl, you from New York and you can't handle snow and you don't like the cold and this and that. But It's different. Like, snow here hits different than snow in New York. Like, New York sees a blizzard every 5 to 7 years. I only remember one crazy snowstorm. And I left New York when I was like 22. In Misawa, it's not necessarily a snow blizzard or a snowstorm. It just comes down and it just continues to come down to the point where like you're walking in snow and it's like at your knees. Did I say I hate snow? Because I really hate snow. So there was that. What I will say about the snow is make sure you have a shovel in your car or some kind of thing to pull yourself out if you get stuck in the snow, because a lot of the cars here are like lowriders. The second question she asked is, are there a lot of activities on base for the kids? And the answer is yes. There is a plethora of activities. There are at the school program activities. So like the school will have dance club, chess, music. If your child is of school age and they don't go to an after school program inside the school, there's also aftercare, which has like, they host trips. Kylie made a chicken wrap the other day. Like, they have a lot of things that they do with the kids. It's not just like them sitting down and just like watching the kids. They actually are interacting and playing with the kids. So it's fun for the kids. Love that. They have a library where you can rent out games for the Nintendo Switch. We just did that this Friday and we are all obsessed. There's a pool. There's a community commons center where you can watch movies and do other stuff. I'm not too sure. I know about the movies, but I'm not really sure what else they have in that building for kids. They have an arts and crafts center. There's bowling. The list just keeps going on and on. There's also instructional programs, which I've mentioned some of these things before in a previous video, but they have ballet, they have soccer, t-ball, I believe. Like, it's a bunch of things. For me, it's still been kind of hard to stay up to date on things through Facebook. And then like the ladies that I hang out with don't have no kids that's of school age. So they keep me up to date on other things that are going on around base. But when it comes to like Kylie's things, I have to be on it or we just not gonna be doing it. So for example, I wanted to sign her up for soccer for the summertime, but when I went to go sign her up, it had happened. The registration was like last month. So I'm still working on that. One of the ways I like to combat that is with Leisure Times. I freaking love this magazine so much so that we actually have a subscription. It's free, by the way. We have a subscription, so it just comes to our P.O. box. But you can find it in the community comments, and I think at the ODR. This has the tours for the month that are coming up. Although I would recommend that you go online to look for the tours, and I'll leave that down below, because what ends up happening is the tours are usually advertised online first, and then that it gets booked. And then by the time you get this, you're like, oh, let me go down and get the tour. It's already sold out. That has happened to us. That happened to us this month, actually. So with this, you'll be able to look through. It tells you all the activities that's happening for the month. We have a bunch of restaurants on base. And when I say a bunch, I mean like a handful. But if there's any specials going on, girl, is in a book. If there's classes, like art classes that are coming up for the kids or for the adults, girl, is in a book. Help Wanted being here too. Like, it's a bunch of stuff, a bunch of information in this book. So I would definitely suggest that once you get here, if you're not already here, you subscribe or just pick up your copy every month at the E-Club or on the ODR, because I've seen it there too. And it's usually available the first of the month. So the next question she asks is, how's the surrounding area? So in Misawa, you can find pretty much anything you need, except like certain foods. If you're trying to make a certain dish or something like that, right? But we have our Walmart, we have our Home Depot, we have 7-Eleven, we have a train station, we have hotels, we have clubs, we have bars and restaurants, especially like right outside of base. You don't have to drive. You can just walk off base and you'll be able to find, something to get into. Everything's pretty close as far as like driving distance. It's not going to be that far. The traffic, what traffic? That's how I feel. What traffic compared to New York, compared to California? What traffic? Ain't no traffic here. But you'll be able to find everything you need. You just have to be willing to look for it. When I first got here, I used to buy stuff on Amazon constantly. And that was like, I stopped last month, honestly. I still buy things on Amazon, but it's just not as frequent. Right now, I'm trying to explore more of Misawa. and really get out there and look for what I need, because I'm finding that if I look, I can find it. So the surrounding area, you know, you gonna have everything you need. Now, the further out you go, the more farmland you'll see, the more mountainsides you'll see, and things of that sort. But actually, like around base, you good. Next question, is it a hassle to travel in Japan? And the answer is no, not really. It's a little nerve-wracking. It can be scary, but it's not a hassle. When we was in Tokyo, we traveled with the train, and it was a little bit different than New York. In New York City, if you've ever been or you live there, then you know if you have a Metro card, you can use that interchangeably as long as you have money on your Metro card between the train and the bus. And you can use it on the A train, the C train, the B train, you can change in between the train lines. Whereas in Tokyo, if you have a ticket, it could be good for the JR line only, or the JR line in another line, but no other line. So it's kind of weird in that way, where we're still trying to understand that a little bit, because we still don't know. There is a way to do like unlimited rides, but I don't know that we need that. So that's not something I'm really familiar with. I know it's something that can be done. I just don't know how it's done. If you are someone who's never been to a big city, it could be a little bit intimidating for you. So what I would suggest to help with the anxiety is to plan ahead. When we were in Tokyo, Google helped a lot. It told us the train lines we had to take. We were able to look up like what hotel we was in and where like the destination we wanted to go. You may still have some trip ups here and there, but don't be afraid to ask for help, because people are willing to help. The crazy part too is like there is still the language barrier, but somehow you get it done. I kind of already spoke about driving in Japan as far as getting around. If you haven't seen my last trip to Kyoto, we drove that trip. That was like a 12-hour trip or something like that. We drove halfway, stopped in the city, and then continued the next day. And we spent like 5 days or something like that in Kyoto. And then after the trip, that was a 2-part video. And then after that, I did an overview of Kyoto. In that video, I talk about the car rental process and the vouchers for the tolls, because yes, there are tolls and there are many of them here. So if you want to watch that video to get more information on car rentals, I will leave that in the cards, and I will also leave that down in the description box below. What I will say about driving in Japan is definitely do it. Try it. It was definitely an eye-opening experience for me and my family, so I would definitely encourage you guys to do the same thing. And then last is planes. There is an airport in Misawa, and a ticket from here to Tokyo is $50 one way. I will try to leave the website for that down below in the description box. A lot of people will just fly from Misawa to Tokyo and then either stay in Tokyo or fly from Tokyo to wherever they need to go. And that's a way to get around as well. Those are the ways we've traveled in Japan, and all of those ways were no hassle at all. This is the last question from Juju Around the World, and it is, can you travel to other countries outside of Japan? You can travel to other countries. That is, of course, taking into consideration what those other countries' protocols are for COVID. Some countries are closed, some countries are open, so it really depends. Next question is from LockGoddess_Kim. That's my sister. So her question is, do you know if you're military but visiting, if you can access base fully, or if you have to have a lodge? Or if you have to have lodging. So basically, the background for this question is my sister's husband is active duty military, and she wants to come visit me here in Japan because she has a military ID. She will have full access to base, except maybe the gym, because you need a key card to get into the gym at certain hours of the day. So unless she's accessing the gym in those hours, she will definitely have access to base. And because I live here, she will be able to just stay with me. If there is a family member who wants to come on base who is not in any way affiliated with the military, then there is a different process for that. I believe you will have to get permission to have them stay on base with you. Next question is from @asked, what's the process for buying a car? So I actually sent him a message describing the process for buying a car, and I will leave that message in the description down below because I did not buy the car and I did not have anything to do with the process for buying the car. Lou did all of that. But I can tell you what I do know, and what I do know is that most of the time people buy cars from someone who is PCSing out. If you are in the States and you will be moving here, you can go on to one of the Facebook pages. I think it's Used Cars, maybe. I'm not sure what it is right now, but I will also leave that in the description box down below so you could check out that Facebook page. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 Facebook pages. You could do that to look to see what cars are available. You can also ask your sponsor to help you buy a car, because some people do buy cars where I guess they contact the person selling the car, put a down payment, then they will have that car once they get here. If that's something that you are trying to do, that is doable. There are a bunch of people who do that with the help of their sponsor. For us, we bought a car when we was already here. We bought one car because at the time it was just Lou working, and then once I started working, we bought another car. If you're already here, it's probably a little bit better because it's the word of mouth thing. A lot of the times people are selling their cars via word of mouth and not posting it on Facebook and not leaving it in the lemon lot. Obviously, if you're not here yet in Japan, it can be hard to communicate via word of mouth unless your sponsor is really, gunning for you and helping you out with those kind of things. If you want me to ask Lou to elaborate on something, then I can do that. Go ahead and shoot me a message down in the comments if you want more information about the car buying process. The next question is, do you have to have a COVID shot if you are a dependent? And the answer is no. You don't have to have a COVID shot, but just know that if you don't get the COVID shot, you may have certain limitations. So for example, there was a COVID outbreak recently here, and for those people who were fully vaccinated, you had to quarantine for 5 days in your home and quarantine for 7 days on base. So meaning the first 5 days you have to be at home, and then the last 2 days you can be out of your home but on base, and after that you was good to go, right? Now, if you do not have the COVID vaccination, that just means that maybe you have to do the whole 14 days at home and you won't be able to leave your house or base after 7 days. And then secondly, it can also affect your travel if you're trying to travel outside of Japan. Right now, Japan is starting to open up their borders a little bit. If you have the vaccination, you will have a little bit more leeway as far as having to quarantine. How it stood before was that if you left the country and you came back into the country, you would have to quarantine for 14 days. Now, the gotcha is when you come back into Japan, you are coming into Japan through Tokyo. Tokyo is 8 hours away from Misawa. And Japan does not allow you to take public transportation, meaning you will have to take a shuttle provided by the base. You will have to coordinate the time you're flying into Tokyo with the time that the shuttle leaves. So you kind of have to know that and kind of schedule it out ahead of time, right? So there's that. If you miss the shuttle, then you will have to do your 14-day quarantine in Tokyo. So that means not only did you just come from the States and spend a bunch of money, but then you would have to come to Tokyo and come to Japan and possibly have to stay at a hotel in Tokyo for 14 days. And no, the military will not cover that. That's just something to take into account. You definitely don't have to get the shot as a dependent. Definitely up to you. The last question is from Tamara Vaughn. And she asked 2 questions actually. The first one being, did you have room for all that kitchen stuff? The answer to that question is no, not really. Like, we are still pretty much trying to organize the kitchen in a way where everything kind of has a spot that fits and it's not cluttered or crowded. We did buy an island at the furniture store, which has helped, but we still not feeling it, to be honest. So Lou did buy a shelf that hasn't come yet from Amazon. So we will have somewhere to kind of put like our microwave and like all that good stuff, because we don't have a lot of counter space. So we're trying to not have a lot of our appliances on the counter, but if we use it every day, then it's like no one's gonna be taking the microwave out every day to heat up some food, you know what I mean? So we need those things out. I've also bought some things from Homac to help kind of like organize the cabinet. But yes, we're still trying to organize the kitchen. So her second question is, did we get any of our missing items or did we just end up claiming it? So If you are new here, then you don't know this. But when we finally got our things from the States, half of our stuff was missing. Half of it was missing. And so we were told that they were going to try to find it, to give us some time for them to be able to track our things down. And basically what was said was that they think they shipped our stuff to somebody else in some other country. So they didn't end up finding out things, and we did have to put in a claim for it. We should be finding out this week how much we're going to get back, but I'm trying to keep my fingers crossed because they don't like to pay people. Like, y'all lose out things and don't want to be paying us. I don't understand it. But we shall see. That was the last question that I have for you guys today. I just want to thank you guys again for asking questions. And I just want to tell you that I truly appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave it down in the description box and I will be sure to get back to you on that. Or I'll be sure to ask Lou so that I can get back to you on that. And also don't forget to follow me on my Instagram. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.